We're going to be talking about getting started in Illustrator. Now, when you open up a new file or start it up, you'll have options up at the top. Now, I've maximized my screen here to get the maximum amount of space. And usually with graphic software, you want to increase your window to the maximum amount of space you can use. That way you have more room to design things. We're going to be doing our design template today for presentations, and we want an A4 sized piece of paper. So an easy way to find that is going up here to New File, and if it's not under Recent, then it's under Print. Now we're looking for an A4 size, and it's actually in units here. There's some units, and it's kind of confusing because they're in PT or point size. We want to change those units already. We want to work in centimeters. So I'll go over to my units drop down menu and pick centimeters. And notice that it changes from 21 to 29.7 centimeters. And I also want to work in landscape. So we want to pick landscape in our orientation. And I'm going to hit create. And we are given this window. I'm going to zoom out by hitting Command minus. Zooming in is Command plus. And that might be different on your computer. It might be Command Shift minus or Command Shift plus, or if you're on a PC, Control plus or Control minus. We want to start out by making sure our workspaces are the same. So the first thing I want to change is my workspace and make sure that I'm working under a workspace of Essentials Classic. This way, everything that I'm doing, you are going to be able to do too, and it looks exactly the same as my screen. So make sure you do that first. And the next thing we want to do is set up our guide so we can get our template looking correct. And the way we're going to do that is several ways. The first way is we're going to make rulers or have rulers activated, and that is Command R. If Command R does not work, you can go to View and down to Rulers and Show Rulers or Hide Rulers, either one. And that will help you get rulers set up. This is in fact in centimeters. If we ever need to change this unit to something else, something like inches, we can always right click on our ruler and change our unit of measurement. But I want to stick with centimeters for now. Rulers are a great way to start to get you guides. Guides are dragged using your mouse from the ruler, and you could see me drag that dotted line towards the center. And if I drag a guide from the left side, I get a vertical ruler. If I drag from the top, I get a horizontal ruler. And notice that those line up with particular measurements on our ruler. We want a particular set of guides that are 1 centimeter on the sides and the top and 2 centimeters on the bottom. And there are several ways we can go about that. And the first thing I want to do is zoom in. Now, before I said you could use Control plus to zoom in, and you most certainly could do that. You could also do a hand gesture of pinching out, which will zoom in your board here. Or you can actually drag this zoom tool and zoom in using that way as well. Just make sure when you're done, you click back to the selection tool. Okay, let's make our first guide. Our first guide we want at 1 centimeter. And so we want to pull from the left and then try to line that up as best you can with 1 centimeter. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can get this a little bit more accurate. The first way, and one that's pretty reliable, is to make a square using our rectangle tool to draw a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter border, square, sorry, by typing in 1 cm by 1 cm and hitting OK. And notice that that square is now there. Now, if this doesn't pop up for you as a square, if it's blank and looks like this, remember to hit the D on your keyboard, the letter D for default. And that will give you default colors. You can see I have a white fill and a black outline or a black stroke. And now I can grab my selection tool again and move that into place. Now, if I notice, this actually snaps to that edge, which means it's almost like it's magnetized to that edge. And that will give me a nice crisp line whenever I pull down my guides. We can line those up. There's 1 centimeter for my guides and 1 centimeter vertical. And that lined up pretty good. I can now take this over. I'm going to zoom out, Command minus. I'm going to take this over to the other corner, right corner, so I can get my right edge guide. And I can drop down that other vertical guide. Now I want a 2 centimeter border on the bottom, so I'm going to change this a bit. I want to transform this so it's now 2 centimeters tall because I want a 2 centimeter horizontal guide. So I can go over to my options or my properties for that box and change my width, or excuse me, my height to 2 centimeters and hit return. And now I can move this back. If I ever make a mistake, remember you can always undo and change that back. Or if you made a mistake, you can always undo anyway. And now I want another horizontal guide right at that 2 centimeter mark. And there, if I zoom out using Command 0, I can see that I have guides all the way around. And I can always move my gauge, my rectangle off to the side, off my artboard, and I am ready to start putting in information.